with trying to keep the Carlisle building moving forward.
Okay. Any other old business? Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. 2 years ago, it was 2 years ago, when this city council, along with the administration, began to consider the possible use of speed enforcement red light violation technology here within the city of Chillicothe. And for the past year, when the cameras first went up, we've heard a lot of discussion, we've heard a lot of debate, we've heard a lot of political threats, we've heard a lot of political innuendos, personal attacks and innuendos as well. People who get up and they want to flash their cards in front of council and say, see, you're wrong, you don't know what you're saying. Now, we just had a citizen tonight speak that we're trying to confuse the voters, and that's furthest thing from the truth. If anybody's trying to confuse the voters, it is you people. Maybe nobody else on council wants to address you, but I will. This matter was before council for an entire year. The ordinance passed without an emergency clause so that it could, in fact, become a referendum issue to the voters. No one chose to do anything until the cameras were installed and operational. The first month was just a test. There was no citations issued. There was opportunity after opportunity for city input into this decision-making process at review sessions, which was covered by the local media and reported by the local media, at regular council sessions, which was covered by and reported by the local media. We had very few participants. Mayor and City Council, Mrs. Schaefer, is not exempt under the ordinance, and you're the one that wants to get up and tell everybody we're trying to confuse the voters. That is the furthest thing from the truth. Now, you had your opportunity, now it's mine. So please respect my opportunity to speak. Now, when you consider the statements that have also been made, not only tonight, but throughout the past year, that we are not going to prohibit the police officers from doing their jobs. That's the furthest thing from the truth. This is anti-law enforcement. Now let's take a look at it. Here's the proposal that will be on the ballot and the language that's included. Here's the actual initiative petition. They're the furthest things apart that I've ever seen. Talk about voter confusion. If the voters knew what they were really voting for, would they really vote for this? Are they going to tie the hands of our local law enforcement? Now, the proposal that the voters will see on the ballot is about 4 or 5 paragraphs. The first paragraph refers to preventing the city, various boards and commissions and agencies from using photo monitoring devices or mobile speed enforcement vehicles. Simple, right? Not until you read the initiative petition, which defines a motor speed enforcement vehicle as any vehicle that uses any electronic, photographic, video, radar, laser, or digital system to produce evidence of the speed of motor vehicles or the identity of the operator. Now, we just spent how much? Hundreds of thousands of dollars for new digital cameras for all of our police cruisers. Does that include a police cruiser? Gee, I don't think anybody can answer that, can they? No, Mrs. Schaefer, you've had your opportunity, so you will respect mine, or I will ask the President of the Council to have you removed. Now, it also refers to law enforcement officer. Law in the initiative petition. It doesn't have any definition in the ballot language, in the initiative petition. Law enforcement officer means any law enforcement officer employed by the city of Chillicothe or by Ross County. It's news to me that we now have jurisdiction over Ross County government. That means deputy sheriffs. That's the way I take it. The whole purpose, which obviously people don't wish, some people don't wish to accept, was for safety. I handed out to council tonight statistics which shows those intersections over the past year, how the number of accidents have been reduced. Now, these statistics, if you'll look, it says it's from all angles at the intersection. It's not just limited to the red light camera section. All angles. There has been a reduction in the number of accidents. It's no different than the mid-1990s when I was mayor, and Chief Crawford at that time came to me and asked me if it would be permissible to create a traffic enforcement bureau because of the number of accidents, the number of personal injury that the city was facing at that time. And so we did. We had officers out enforcing speed, running red lights, running traffic stop signs. The same result. People complained and said that was being un-American because now you're stopping me and you're restricting my freedom to drive any way I want. These speed cameras were intentionally set up to allow 11 mile per hour grace. 11 mile per hour. And people still complain it's not right to give me a ticket for that. When we also have seen in the past suggestions that, well, gee, increase the yellow light cameras or the yellow lights on the systems themselves, or increase the time delay between the red light changing to green for the intersection that's waiting to go through. We've done that at various intersections throughout the city to try and deter people running red lights. The problem is, as people become more and more accustomed to the delay in the traffic light turning from red to green for the other oncoming traffic, they speed up, even though they know the light is red, to get through that intersection. If you give them another 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds, as it has been suggested, they will still time those lights to go through them when they're red. Technology is here, whether you like it or not. We have digitized cameras in all of our police cruisers. Number one, it's a way of collecting evidence when an officer makes a stop. Number two, it's also a way to protect the officer from accusations or allegations by a citizen that they stopped, that somehow the officer mistreated them or abused them. There's also been a statement stated here this evening, as well as other times, that this will not stop the police from doing their job. It does. It does. Under current Ohio law, not city ordinance, but current Ohio law and court decisions, it has always been lawful for a police officer operating radar or laser to call ahead to another police officer and to pull over a vehicle for speeding. And that officer, that second officer who stops the vehicle, can write the citation. It has always been the law in Ohio. Where were the citizens in the 1990s when the legislature started reducing the certain rights and privileges that DUI offenders had, in conjunction with the Ohio Supreme Court decisions, where the Ohio Supreme Court has stated numerous times, driving in this state is a privilege, it is not a constitutional right. Now, we don't have enough of our streets marked with speed limits. That's funny because a number of people who go back to get their operator's license renewed indicates to the deputy registrar that they understand and will comply with the laws governing the operation of motor vehicles in this state. The posting of stop or speed limit signs was not required until March of this year. We decided as an administration to go ahead and post them in December anyway. The delay of the yellow signals between green and red, we had until March, but we went ahead and changed them anyway. We have followed the law. That's what we want to do. That's what our police officers want to do. This is anti-law enforcement, and I ask the citizens to vote no. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any other old business? We already had all this participation. Any other old business, council members? Mr. Fossen,